Okay, so about a week ago, I watched the new Ninja Turtles movie, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Mutant Mayhem. So doing that reminds me, of course, of the greatest movie I watched this year, Ruby Gillman, Teenage Kraken. But I watched the new Ninja Turtles movie. I had a really good time with it. Since it's still a relatively new movie, I didn't see it in theaters. I saw it in Paramount Plus, but I think it came out in theaters in August. So it's still relatively new, so I'll do it the way I usually do a newer movie, which is no thoughts, no spoilers, thoughts with mild spoilers, which would be like talking about some set pieces or like specific jokes that kind of stood out to me or made me laugh, and then full spoilers, so any big plot reveals, going into like the climax, the ending, things of that ilk. So no spoilers. The art style is fantastic. If you've seen the trailers, you've probably seen how the movie looks. It has a very Spider-Verse-y, Puss in Boots 2 kind of look. I'm like, it's very comic booky. It looks, I want to say, like a little grittier, a little grimier than those two movies, which I think really works. Again, it's a movie in New York, which I mean, granted, it was Spider-Verse. But also, like, it's a movie about mutants and living in the sewers and ooze. So the fact that it has this kind of grimier look, I think serves the movie really well. Our main characters, which of course it's the Ninja Turtles. It's Leo, Donnie, Mikey, and Raph. Should have said Raph before Mikey because Mikey's supposed to be the youngest. But it's these four, and I like these four. I consistently like these four. What they do with them here, it's like Raph is still, like, he is physically the biggest. He is the most angry. He's basically, I mean, he's always been a blood knight, but in this movie they're like, Raph, do you need therapy, dude? Like, do you need help? Do you need to talk to somebody? Because boy, like when he gets into a fight, like there's some really funny moments. Like there's a moment where like a dude throws something at him, it kind of bounces off his head, and then Raph looks at him, and the dude is terrified. And Raph just jumps out and starts punching the shit out of him. Like, yeah, that's Raph. Donnie, they also made him an anime fan. Like he talks a couple times about how much he loves Attack on Titan. Leo is like, he is the leader of the team. He is the one that is like, all right, I mean, this is what our dad is telling us to do, so we really shouldn't go against dad's wishes. Like, I feel like a bad son. I'm supposed to look out for my brothers, but also I still want to do this kind of shit with my brothers. Splinter's like, no, I'll talk about Splinter in a second. Well, let me go and talk about him now. He is not Master Splinter. He's more of Papa Splinter. Because it's not that, like, yes, this was a former like a karate master. He's not someone who like was very well trained in ninjutsu who then became a rat because of some shit that happened. He was just a regular rat that got oozed along with the turtles and was like, oh, these are my boys now, I guess. The way he trained them was by buying, because you can do that as a rat, he somehow got his hands on like self-defense classes. I don't remember the name of the guy that taught that. I think it was like something Lee. Like, it wasn't Bruce Lee or Jet Li. It was like someone Lee. And they watched those classes, and that's what taught them self-defense, martial arts, and their ninjutsu. Which, on the one hand, I'm like, that's pretty funny. And I will also go ahead and say Shredder is not in the movie. They don't deal with him. Instead, they deal with other mutants. And there's a part of me that goes like, okay, I know this has, I think it's going to have a sequel. It was greenlit for like its own TV show, so it's like the pilot movie, kind of like Jimmy Neutron was. Is the guy who did the self-defense classes, is he gonna turn out to be the Shredder when Shredder gets involved? Because that is pretty funny. But, Splinter is not Master Splinter, but he is still their dad. He's afraid of human beings. You know, when he went out into the world when they were mutants, they're like, oh my god, a giant rat person, and blah, 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 blah. He doesn't want to go up there. He's like, you're going to be milked. They're going to milk you of your blood or of your ooze. Don't do it. And they bring up the milking thing like a couple of times. Like, Dad, we've been up there before. We're not going to get milked. But Leo's thing is, me and my brothers, we want to go up top and have a good time. Like, we want to become part of New York. We've seen movies like Ferris Bueller. we want to be like that. We want to be the cool guy. We want to go to high school. Like, what is it that Raph wants to do? I think Raph just wants to do sports. I don't remember if there was a specific sport. Donnie wants to be part of the anime club. Leo ends up having a crush on April. Kind of like, because April is their age the way... I can't say the most recent show, because that was Rise, which I haven't seen, but I think I've heard good things about. The show before that on Nickelodeon, April was also their age, and Donnie had a thing for her. Now it's Leo that has the thing for her. And Mikey wants to do improv, or I'm like, I kind of fuck with that. It's like, I don't know. Like, yeah, that sounds like something Mikey would want to do. But they want to go topside. They want to go to watch... They even talk at one point. They're like, yeah, I mean, like, we... Excuse me, because... Oh, fuck. I had something in my throat. Splinter will send them topside to essentially go on supply runs. And they talk about that while they're up there. Sometimes they stay a little bit longer and sneak out. They're like, yeah, like, remember when we went to the Adele concert? Or, like, we went to Madison Square Garden to watch the Knicks game? Like, yeah, that was pretty cool. That was pretty cool. And Leo is very much in the middle of that. Like, I want to do what Dad says because he's our dad and I love him and I respect him. I also want what my brothers want. And I want us to have a good time. And, like, we're New Yorkers. I want us to be able to really enjoy New York and for the people of New York to love us back. But there is clear danger here. We have some degree of training. Excuse me, we can take care of ourselves. But there is danger. And he's very much caught between that. I feel like the only other thing I really want to say, no spoiler-wise, is I really liked the soundtrack. There were two songs in particular that really stuck out to me. Number one is there's a scene where What's Up by Four Non Blondes plays, which it's a song I love. The He-Man video is one of my favorite fucking videos of all time. I haven't watched it in a while, but every time I do, I'm just smiling. I'm just giggling. Hey! I love that shit. It cracks me up to no end. But I still really, really like the original song. I think it's one of those songs, like, I genuinely like it, but it also just kind of hits me. And, like, I get this. I've had those kinds of days where, you know, you just want to scream, like, what the fuck is going on? And, you know, blah, 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 blah. There's also a scene where during a montage of them doing some crime fighting work, No Diggity by Blackstreet starts playing. And, like, I recognize that song immediately. I fucking love No Diggity. I'm like, I did not have that on my bingo card of that this song would be in a fucking Turtles movie. I am so down with this. This is awesome. I will also say, I don't think I recognized any of the Turtles voice actors, but they are all voiced by teenagers. And I think that worked really well. Like, it does really encapsulate the youth of the characters. And then just the way they talk to each other. Like, these feel like four very close brothers. I thought that was great. Jackie Chan is Splinter, which on the one hand I really like because I love Jackie Chan, I love Master Splinter, but then I'm also like, you picked Jackie Chan for this in the version where Master Splinter isn't an actual martial artist. Like, he can still do his shit. He watched the training videos too. I'm like, that feels slightly off for this version of Splinter, but I still like it. And Superfly, our main antagonist mutant, which I'll talk about more in the mild spoilers. Like, it's not a spoiler that he's the antagonist. Like, you see a giant fly in, like, the first scene of the movie created by Baxter Stockman. He's voiced by Ice Cube. And there was a part, like, as soon as he started talking, I was like, I know that voice. It's like, is that fucking Ice Cube? Ice Cube's in a Ninja Turtle movie? What the fuck? I fucked with this pretty hard. Like, this is pretty cool. That's no spoilers. I enjoyed the movie. I had a really good time with it. It's one of those movies where I'm like, is this like a phenomenal movie? Maybe not, but I had so much fun the entire time. I think it was like 2 hours too. It didn't feel like long, but it felt like there was a lot of, how do I want to say this? Because I don't want to be like, man, this felt like such a long movie. Like, it dragged and nothing happened and it sucked. That's not the case. I would say it was about maybe 2 hours, like 2:10, 2:15. I was like, okay. It felt like that. It felt like there was enough stuff happening throughout the movie. I can't even really think of any lulls in the movie, because even in maybe a scene or two where it's like, all right, this is a more down, like, emotional kind of scene or whatever, I'm like, no, I still kind of vibe with this, though, and the art is consistently good. I think the voice acting is consistently good. It is a fun time. If you have access to the movie, and especially if you are like a fan of Ninja Turtles, like, I feel like you would have a good time with it. So that's all for that. Going into the mild spoilers. So the first fight scene in the movie takes place in a chop shop. And it is very much the four brothers being like, okay, we're going to fight shit. We've got training. We've got weapons. We can do this. Also, we've literally never done this before. I'm kind of terrified. There's a scene where, like, they all bust out their weapons. There's a bunch of dudes, and Donnie's like, I just kind of realized you guys have, like, these really cool, like, Leo's got fucking swords. Raph's got these, like, pointy things. Donnie's got this intricate shit, or, like, Mikey has this intricate shit. I have a fucking stick, dude. What am I supposed to do with a big stick? Like, I kind of enjoyed that. Like, if you see the trailer, there's the part where, like, I think it's one of the Sais ends up in Donnie's leg and he just starts screaming and they're like, what the fuck do we do? That's right before the fight starts. That's a lot of fun. The fight itself is also a ton of fun. I think that's the part where Raph just, like, throws himself at a dude, starts beating the shit out of him. Raph is the one that that's right, because at first they're like, okay, this is the place, this is the auto garage, like, that cute girl got her scooter stolen. We're to go save her. And Raph immediately just runs inside like Leroy Jenkins. They're like, Raph, we wanted to sneak in. We wanted to use stealth. Fuck damn it, Raph. They go in, they start fighting, and there's a point where one of the dudes, like, gets into the car and then just starts, like, trying to run them over and spinning them around. It's like, oh my god, it's that fight from Resident Evil 7 when you're fighting Jack in the garage. And then he gets into the car. Like, oh, I was not expecting to think of Resident Evil while watching Ninja Turtles. I also wasn't expecting to hear fucking No Diggity while listening to Ninja Turtles. This movie's great. It's just a really fun scene. There's a scene later where, okay, so, quick pen in that. So, Superfly's plan is he and a bunch of other mutants made by Stockman are trying to make a giant machine that basically does the thing from X-Men 1, where we're going to turn all of the animals in the world into mutants. And the humans are basically... I was a little confused about this. It's like, so is the machine supposed to kill all humans? I don't think so. I think it'll give us the power, and then we can kill the humans, and, like, whichever ones we don't want to kill, we can keep around. There's a line where he says, you know, it's like, we don't have to kill them all, humans kept us around for entertainment. Like, there were horse races. Now we're going to have fat booty boy races. I like that. That got a big laugh out of me. It really did. Superfly and his droogs, which, aside from Bebop and Rocksteady, I didn't recognize. From what I understand, they are Turtles characters. They showed up in other media. They showed up in the comics. I don't know about Superfly himself, if he's also from the comics, if he's an original character. I'm way more familiar with, like, Shredder, the Foot Clan, Purple Dragons, and Krang. Because, like, the show I know the most is, I believe it's the 03 show that aired on, I think it was on the Fox box. Boy, that makes me feel fucking old. But that is the Ninja Turtle show that I grew up watching, that I fucking love. So all these other mutants, who I don't believe were ever in there, is like, all right, and Baxter Stockman, because he was in that too, because he never fucking died, because he was always like, I've cheated death once again. He was great. Anyways, point. He and his droogs they want what the Turtles want. We want acceptance. Because we've tried to be, like, just hanging out in New York, and people see us as freaks. Understandable, but hurtful. So, fuck them. If they won't accept us, but we accept us, then we're going to turn everyone into us. And the ones that don't convert are going to die. And the Turtles are like, yeah, because they're all kind of, like, vibing with each other. And then they're like, Oh, that's your plan! Yikes! So what ends up happening is there's a car chase where Superfly is going to like his base where like to finish his machine, and they're taking the last part, and they're in two separate cars, and one in the car are the four turtles and some of the mutants, and the radio's playing, and it's playing What's Up by Four Non Blondes, which I mentioned is in the movie, and it's a great song. The turtles, using Donnie's big stick to like hit the brake, essentially it's like, all right, quickly hit the brake, send the other three flying out of the car, and then get the car and drive away and be like, we can't help him finish his plan, which leads to a car chase. The music changes from the regular Four Non Blondes version of What's Up into the fucking He-Man version. Complete with even all the Skeletor shit. Like, and he prays. Oh my God, do I pray? I pray every single day. Yeah, I fucking heard the yeah in a Ninja Turtles movie. This was incredible. I had no idea this was going to be in the movie. None whatsoever. Even when they start playing the regular version of the song, never in my wildest dreams was I thinking, yeah, they're about to transition to the He-Man version, but they fucking did. And my life is better for it. Maybe not substantially so, but it is better for it. My fucking curse of September, where it was like, man, almost everything I watched or like started in September ended up like being shit, did not extend to this. It was wonderful. There's another scene where April's giving her backstory, which is like, yeah, I want to be a reporter, but I have this really bad issue with stage fright. And people call her Puke Girl because she was gonna read the morning announcements and got really, like the stage fright was super bad. She got really scared and she threw up. She tells the story. You see it happen. Like, it was kind of done in a way where I'm like, oh, okay, like, that kind of sucks for you. They're probably not gonna show it. They show it and it just keeps going, and then they show like these other, like, oh yeah, like I was memed, I was remixed, and then just like shows in-universe parody videos of her throwing up. And it's not just like a little, it's like projectile vomit. And it's green, so it's like, it looks like she is throwing up Nickelodeon slime, or it's a Turtles property, so it's like she's throwing up ooze. It's so funny. It's nasty as hell, and I loved it. I was cracking up. It takes a joke. They're like, okay, like that's kind of a sad thing. That could be like, just, I don't really want to see that into, this is hysterical. This movie is great. Let's see, I talked about the big booty boy race. Another thing, like specifically in that scene, because April takes them to their to her high school, and essentially she's like, we want to become accepted. So like essentially what the plan is, if we stop Superfly, because they don't know who he is, they just know there's the villain calls himself Superfly. Like if we stop him, and you write a story about us, you get to become a reporter. And we get our story told to, like, we're crime fighters, we're good people, let us into your society and shit. There's a scene where Mikey sees, like, an improv class, and he's like, oh, yo, I'm gonna sign up for, like, Mikey, we don't even go here. Yeah, but, like, when we're done with Superfly, we're gonna go here, and it's in, like, 2 weeks. We got time. So he's about to sign up, he's like, huh. You know, it's asking for first name and last name. Guys, what's our last name? And I'm like, that's a good question. What is their last name? I mean, if they're all Splinter's kids, would their last name be Splinter? That makes sense to me. That's not what they go for, because Mikey's like, oh, fucking duh. My name is Michelangelo, so I'll write my name as Michael Angelo. Got it. And then I think it's Raph. It's Raph or Donnie that does it. I think it's Raph who goes like, Leo, your name is Leo Nardo. And they just keep calling him Nardo throughout the rest of the movie. And I loved that. I got a really good kick out of that. It's like the relationship between the brothers and them like giving each other shit. Like, it's very clear that Leo has a thing for April, and his three brothers never let him live it down. Like, any chance they get, it's fucking great. I feel like that's really all I have to say about mild spoilers. Now I'll kind of move into the full spoilers for the film. Superfly's droogs are more on the turtle side. They're kind of like, yeah, like, we never really thought there was another way that, like, we could become kind of good people and they would accept us. Like, we've been helping Superfly, like, he's our boy, but also this is kind of the only option we had. We don't really want to kill people. I think one of them even says, she's like, yeah, like, I don't want to kill people because I might have nightmares and be haunted by their spirits. I don't want that to happen. And one of the brothers, I don't remember which one, is like, yeah, nightmares, haunting, that's fucking bad. Don't do it. So they all decide not to, and Superfly's like, man, fuck this. And it's still going through with his shit. His plan doesn't quite work, but it works enough because he ends up turning into a giant kaiju and, like, gets a bunch of other monsters, like, fused with him. At one point, he, like, hits a zoo and they all get fused. So they have to go fight the giant kaiju. While that happens, April goes in front of a camera. She's like, I'm going to fight my fear and tell the story of my friends so people can help them. And she tells the story, and then she still throws up and then keeps going. I was like, that was a funny callback. Oh, before that, there is a scene where they do get captured by, I don't remember what the name of the organization was, but the people that, like, Baxter Stockman worked for that want the ooze and shit, and the turtles get captured, and they do actually get milked. I think the machine was, like, the Mega Milker 2000. I'm like, oh god, they actually called it the Mega Milk. That was on purpose. They knew what they were doing. I 100% believe so. Oh my gosh. But they get mecha milked of the ooze. Not fully. Like, they still are the turtles. They have all their abilities and whatever. But Splinter goes in and oh yeah, Splinter also has, like, an afro in this movie. I don't think I brought that up. But Splinter goes in. He saves them. April helps out too. Then they go to, like, fight the kaiju and shit. Actually, wait, does the kaiju part happen before or after their capture? I think it's after their... Yeah, because I think the capture happens after the car chase. Because I feel like them getting captured and, like, milked, like, that's a full spoiler. It, like, brings a big joke back. But anyways, that shit happens. They fight a giant kaiju. They get a cure. And Donnie's like, wait, Attack on Titan. The weakness is in the neck. This is where we gotta, like, inject him so we can, take care of the problem. So they do that as they are trying to get this cure into Superfly. You get this really cool sequence where it's just after April's gone on the news and be like, yo, help them. They're trying to save us. It's just the people of New York rallying around and, like, helping them and shit, which I think is really neat. It gives me a Spider-Man 1 vibe where it's like, hey man, you mess with one of us, you mess with all of us. And then also the scene in Spider-Man 2 where it's like, you gotta go through me, The fucking train scene is magnificent. It's not quite the same as that, but it's still really cool. It's really fun. They beat Superfly and he turned back as, like, a tiny little fly and shit. The turtles get to go to high school. Splinter is now in a relationship with, like, a big cockroach lady. Sure dog. And the movie ends with a mid-credit scene introducing the Shredder. So when I said earlier Shredder's not in the movie, I technically lied because he is at the very end of the movie, but that's more of a spoilery thing, and he has no bearing on the actual plot. I hope he's the guy from the self-defense classes. I think that would be a really funny callback. But do I have anything else they want to say about it? I don't think so. So I had a really good time with it. I would recommend checking it out. Now, maybe you won't like it. I can certainly understand that. But if you do watch it and you do like it, then... I was going to say that I hope you have a good time, but if you liked it, then you did have a good time. So if you check it out, I certainly hope that you have a good time because I certainly did.